The RPM Q2 is RPM's first Gen 4 full foam core power paddle, available in 4 shapes, and it does something interesting. This might be the first paddle series that begins to blur the lines between honeycomb and foam cores. That's not something you hear often about a foam build, and it's worth understanding why. Full disclosure, RPM sent me all 4 versions to test with no strings attached. No money changed hands, I'm not obligated to create content for them, and these are my honest impressions. They retail at $249.99 before code, with a lifetime warranty. You can pick them up at RPM's website and use code MPB at checkout for a discount, which also helps support this channel. The Q2 comes in elongated and wide-body shapes, each available in 16 and 14mm core thicknesses. All 4 use the same construction system, same face, same core architecture. So I'm going to cover the tech once, then break down how the shapes actually play differently. RPM calls the core the MultiZone Hybrid Core, which is a mouthful. But the idea is straightforward. Instead of using a single foam type throughout the paddle, they mapped 4 different foam materials to different zones based on what each zone needs to do. Check out the X-ray on the screen now. The central core is EPP, expanded polypropylene, fully molded in one piece that extends continuously into the handle. That unibody construction means no separate throat piece, no core-to-handle joint that can fail. The EPP core also has molded flex channels, grooves about 3mm wide and 3mm deep, formed during the molding process rather than cut afterward. That distinction matters because cutting foam after the fact breaks the bead structure of EPP and changes how it responds. RPM preserves that structure by shaping it during the mold. Those flex channels are designed to encourage the face to flex laterally, a slight cupping or what James calls a taco-style bend on impact, rather than just bending tip to throat. The goal is a flatter energy distribution across the face and less hot zone behavior in the upper third. In play, that's noticeable. Around the perimeter, instead of using EVA foam uniformly, RPM placed different materials where each makes sense. TPU inserts at 3 and 9 o'clock, those are the side positions, for torsional stability and added elasticity under high impact loads. TPE foam in the throat, which is denser and softer than EVA, to pull the bounce point slightly down and control how the lower portion of the paddle flexes, and EVA in the remaining perimeter zones. So in terms of the design intent, RPM built this to deliver high output with controlled energy distribution, extended dwell time, and a feel that's softer than most foam paddles without losing feedback. Whether it delivers on that is the more interesting question. All 4 shapes come in at 7.72 to 7.87 ounces static weight, lighter than you'd expect for a power paddle at this level. The handle is 5.5 inches across all versions with a 4.125-inch grip circumference. I'll put the full numbers on the screen now. The short version, all 4 shapes post elite serve speeds, strong punch volley output, and above average spin. Physical specs vary meaningfully by shape, and I'll cover what that actually means for play in a minute. The thing that hits you first with the Q2 is that it doesn't feel like a typical foam paddle. Most foam cores have a muted disconnect contact quality. You hit the ball and it just goes, without a lot of feedback about where you struck the face or how cleanly. The Q2 doesn't do that. Initial contact feels defined. You get clear information about where you hit the face and how squarely you made contact. You get more feedback, which I like. That's the axial carbon layup doing its job. The multi-angle fiber orientation gives the face a responsiveness that some foam builds lack, and it makes the paddle feel closer in character to a solid Gen 3 honeycomb build than to a typical foam paddle. The power delivery is linear. The harder you swing, the more pace you get. No trampoline jump at medium swing speeds that some foam cores produce. Baseline drives carry well and pace builds naturally throughout the swing. Serve speeds confirm what you feel. This is an elite output paddle, and it doesn't feel like you're fighting the paddle to get there. If you need help putting a ball away, Q2 is a step in the right direction. Punch volleys are solid too, without over-launching, but just a note, it's easy to overshoot. The foam core absorbs incoming pace slightly before releasing, which means you can be compact on contact, and the ball still comes off with a good punch. Counters at the kitchen are solid. You get enough snap on a tight swing to stay offensive without sacrificing too much control on your placement. If you already struggle to place your shots, let's just say the Q2 isn't going to magically help you land them in. Also, the extended dwell time is what makes the short game work. Drops can land soft, topspin dinks with pace still dip, You're not pushing balls long on short contact, and you don't have to make major adjustments to keep touch shots short once you calibrate. The coarse peel-like texture gives you plenty of grip on the ball for backspin or topspin. Sound is worth mentioning because it's distinctive. The Q2 is louder, low frequency, and boomy, the acoustic signature of a high-performance foam core, think boomstick. If you're sensitive to sound or play in environments where that matters, it's something to be aware of. I actually love it. One thing I did try with both shapes was adding weight at 3 and 9 o'clock and also just above the lower corners, roughly 0.5 grams per inch over a 4-inch strip, about 4 grams total. The elongated models have lower twist weights at 5.8 to 5.9, and while the foam construction keeps mishits more playable than those numbers suggest they would be, the added stability noticeably improved fast exchanges and jammed contact. Given how light the static weights are stock, you can do this and still land well under 8.1 ounces. The wide body start with better twist weight, so weight addition there is more about preference than necessity. It's also worth noting that James and Marwan, the co-founders, think the Q2 plays better with weight, and I don't disagree, but I also don't think these are unplayable without weight. Let's talk about the sound profile for a second. I bounced the Q2 widebody 16mm against a few paddles I think are worth comparing it to. The Boomstick, the Inferno, the Tornado, the Loco, the Perseus Pro 4, the Mod TA15, the Scorpius 3S, and the 11624 Vapor Power 2. Just a few. Have a listen. So what does the Q2 play like? If you threw the Selkirk Boomstick, the Luz Pro 4 Tornado, the Luz Pro 4 Inferno, and the Honolulu Pickleball J6CR into a blender and tossed the ingredients into the oven, about 35 minutes later, you'd get something close to the Q2. It sits at the intersection of those four paddles in character. The Boomstick has a firmer, denser contact feel. Testing shows the Q2 in the same ballpark as the paddles just mentioned. The Q2 is softer on contact and weighs less stock at 7.72 to 7.87 ounces versus the Boomstick's 8.22 ounces, and it costs about $83 less. The Tornado has a stiffer, crisper response, shorter dwell time, and quicker energy return. The Q2 is measurably softer in feel with more extended contact. Similar power and sound profile, different touch. The Inferno plays with a smooth absorption then release character that the Q2 shares, but the Q2 gives more immediate feedback and feels more connected. Both are foam builds, the Q2 is more responsive. The J6CR has a bouncy, alive quality, pockety rebound with a reactive feel. The Q2 is a touch softer than that, more dampened and a touch more hollow, but maintains connection in a way other foam paddles don't. All have extended dwell time relative to their respective constructions, but the J6CR feels a touch more immediately reactive, and the Q2 absorbs more before releasing. The elongated shapes, both thicknesses, measure 16.5 by 7.5 inches at a 24.8 centimeter balance point. The extra length gives you reach on lobs and overheads, and the head-heavy geometry favors leverage on drives and serves. Swing weights at 112.75 and 114.05 give you plow through on loaded contact, but cost you hand speed in rapid exchanges, although not that much. Twist weights at 5.8 and 5.9 mean you need sharper ball striking. This isn't a shape that forgives off-center contact as readily. The wide bodies measure 16 by 8 inches at a 24.3 to 24.4 centimeter balance point. Wider face means more lateral sweet spot, and twist weights at 6.75 and 6.85 make off-center hits considerably more forgiving. Twist weights at 104.6 and 107.4 make these shapes faster through the zone. You feel that immediately in hand battles and rapid-fire kitchen exchanges. On thickness, the 16mm shapes give you slightly more cushion on contact, more pronounced dwell time, and marginally more control on touch shots. Drops and resets benefit from that extra give. Punch volley output is slightly lower than the 14mm versions across both shapes. The 14mm shapes pop harder. The Widebody 14mm leads all four at 39.5 miles per hour punch volley speed and 104.6 swing weight, the fastest handling, most explosive configuration in the lineup. Surface texture on my test units is also the highest on the 14mm elongated at 8.902 microns. More grit, more spin potential right out of the box, but your mileage may vary as that texture tends to change from paddle to paddle. So the decision tree is fairly clean. If you want reach, leverage, and maximum serve speed, you're in the elongated camp. 16mm if you want more cushion, drive power, and control. 14mm if you want more pop and punch. If you want a wider sweet spot, faster hand speed, and better forgiveness on off-center contact, you're in the wide-body camp. Same thickness logic applies. So I think the Q2 is a good fit for players who've been looking for a Gen 4 full foam core option that plays closer to a Gen 3 Honeycomb build than almost any other foam paddle out there. It's got punch, pop, spin, the whole package without giving up short game control. The extended dwell time and soft feel make touch shots workable in a way that's unusual for a paddle generating this kind of output. Players who want a firm, crisp, honeycomb-like feel aren't going to find it here. The Q2 is softer than most foam paddles, but it's still on the softer side as compared to the typical Gen 3 build. So that's it. That's the RPM Q2 Quick Take First Look Review. 4 shapes, 1 construction system, elite output across the board. It plays with more feedback and energy return than most full foam builds, maintains a softer touch than the crispest options in the category, and comes in at $249.99 with a lifetime warranty on the core. For details on that warranty, make sure you visit rpmpb.com. If you're in the market for a high output foam paddle and want something that doesn't feel like a typical foam paddle, this is worth consideration. Code MPB gets you a discount at checkout. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.